One of the big themes we've explored in American popular music is how the commercialization of music gives rise to reactionary movements that are often quite exciting and new initially, but lose much of their original defining characteristics when these movements achieve mainstream appeal. This was true in jazz, early rock and roll, the hippie movement, punk, disco, hip hop, and alternative music. The reduction of alternative music to a mere genre classification within the pop music industry meant listeners and artists had to find other ways to communicate their outsider status. Independent music was a subgenre of alternative, but it came to replace the alternative concept as a way of describing music recorded on independent labels that tended not to apply the same music industry pressures to produce radio-friendly hit songs. In many ways, the internet helped promote these independent artists throughout the early to mid-2000s. When television, films, and advertising caught on to the popularity of indie music, it became clear the alternative to the mainstream had once again become mainstream. In this presentation, we'll look at the relationship between independent music and advertising in the last several years. Pop culture movements have always been co-opted by marketers. This is a Coca-Cola ad from 1971. The song was written in the hippie style popular at the time. The setting of the ad certainly is reminiscent of the scenes at Woodstock. In fact, it's an embodiment of the hippie fantasy. People of all different ethnic backgrounds being united in peace. Though the hippie movement was founded on the idea that capitalism and commercialism are what kept people in competition rather than promoting peace, here the world is united by the ultimate commercial product and symbol of American capitalism, Coca-Cola. Here's a more recent example of how an indie band, in fact one of the best examples of independent music, was used to promote another symbol of American culture, the NFL. Arcade Fire's song Wake Up is a highlight of their live show. It's a stadium anthem that gives the feeling of uniting a large crowd, so it works well in an ad celebrating the NFL for its ability to unite American football fans all over the country. As an independent band, Arcade Fire could not, in good conscience, sell themselves outright to the NFL. So they brokered a deal that the money paid for their music to be used would go to the earthquake relief efforts in Haiti. As you watch the video, notice that what the NFL is borrowing from the band is the feeling of grandness and unity the song offers. Just like with the Coke commercial, the NFL ad seeks to build an association with its viewers between its brand and the feeling captured in the music of popular culture. Though Arcade Fire found a clever way to avoid the conflict between their independent principles and the commercialism of the advertising world, many independent bands don't have that option. For many popular indie bands, the only way to reach a larger audience quickly is to sell a song to television ads or a TV show. This money gives them the freedom to tour and support themselves as musicians. Jessica Hopper makes this case in a November 2013 article. In the article, she quotes Gabe McDonough, who was VP of Music at one of the big U.S. marketing firms in 2013. He says, 8 out of 10 of the most followed people on Twitter are musicians. 9 out of 10 of the most viewed things on YouTube are music videos. What's the value of having a musician tweet about something to 20 million followers? That's more than a primetime ad buy on NBC you could spend gazillions on. And musicians are finally starting to realize that this is worth more than any song they could write. That's money. These big companies are the last people paying musicians what they're worth. One of the bands featured in Hopper's article is Matt and Kim, whose song Daylight was featured in a Bacardi rum commercial. The ad waits to reveal the product until the very end, when it's revealed that what ties all the historic scenes together is Bacardi. The claim is that Bacardi has been an integral and reliable part of all the most important American music culture trends since 1862. This kind of ad works for both Bacardi and Matt and Kim because the hip indie music of contemporary times is placed in the broader history of pop music trends. It lends some authenticity to the Daylight song and places the Bacardi brand in the center of what's been hip throughout the history of American popular music. In a 2009 blog, the band Matt and Kim are interviewed about the impact of the Bacardi commercial on their career. I heard Daylight on a Bacardi commercial the other day. In fact, it's on your website. Well, you know, I came from a punk rock background where this is selling out. It's such a turnoff. But I feel like that was just ignorant teenage thought. I understand it in the way that music is special and people don't want to share you with everyone. I remember our first commercial for an Orange Global campaign, and people wrote us angrily, like, "We're never going to listen to you again." And I responded to all of them, "We need to make some money. We keep our show prices lower. We're not selling a ton of records. It's not like we're going to do a cigarette ad. And it wasn't like bikini-clad beer commercials. We're not hiding away from it." Has something like that given you some newfound attention? Well, we're in month 5 of this album, and we're in the iTunes charts again. I think it was in the top 40 alternative charts. And now, weeks after we've kind of faded away, we're higher on the charts. Rob Barbato's quote in the Hopper article sums up the acceptance of independent music in the commercial world. If someone in the independent rock world thinks that this is bullshit, they should take a look at themselves. They're doing the same thing. They're writing albums that people stream 30 seconds of on fucking Pitchfork, and then people are like, "Oh, I like your album." This is the new reality for music. In order to get your music heard, even if it has a non-commercial message, you have to play by the rules of commercial culture. In order to understand American popular music, it's essential to examine the commercial structure in which the music is promoted, distributed, and produced. This economic character to popular music is one of the ways the music represents what America really is and what it stands for around the world. Christopher Hitchens, a writer from England who moved to America, was known for his arguments against religion and theism. In his memoir, Hitchens captured the contradictions operating simultaneously in America. How is the United States at once the most conservative and commercial and the most revolutionary society on earth? Conservatism would suggest that Americans prefer to maintain the status quo, to hold on to the past, to espouse conservative family values. Though commercialistic culture often challenges those conservative values with values based on greed, self-indulgence, and materialism, conservative America, for the most part, buys into it. And then at the same time, there is the revolutionary streak in America, the pursuit of the new, of change, the anti-commercialistic backlash that we saw in protest music and punk. And as we've seen, this revolutionary spirit is also commercialized. Every product is touted as a revolution itself. This is the contradictory world of America, and these contradictions are on full display in the history of American popular music.